All right, welcome back. And guess what? We have a new Photoshop that was just released, and it is Photoshop 2024. And we have a couple of new things. One's going to be huge and major, but, and yes, there is a but. First, we're going to take a look at some of the more basic options that we have here. So we have this image, and we have this weird light tower out in the middle of nowhere. So we're going to go ahead and remove that, okay? We're going to remove it. It's really easy. Now, you will notice over here I have a custom toolbar, so this might be nested under some other tools, but it's this little Band-Aid with the little stars on it, and it is called the Remove tool. This is a new AI Remove tool. First, we won't get rid of the light. We'll just do the lighthouse for right now. So we'll just kind of paint over it. And you're saying, hey, Photoshop, this is what I want to remove. One of the issues with this new AI takes a longer time to do it. And as you can see, it did a pretty good job of just removing all that stuff. Then I could simply just come in here and we can paint over where the little light was. We'll see what it does. Hopefully it does not ruin the top of those mountains, but we'll see. Yeah, it did an okay job. Got a little weird thing right there, but that looks pretty good. That is the Remove tool. You see right there. That's the first one that we have. Now the next tool was in the beta, and it's the Live Gradient. So let's go ahead and take a look at what Live Gradient means. So in this case, let's go ahead and we'll make a adjustment that just makes everything darker for right now. And what Live Gradient does is let you see the gradient as you were doing it. Before, you would apply a gradient and then you'd see what it looked like. And if it didn't like it, you'd have to do it over again. So let's go ahead here. We've got gradient. We'll use this radial gradient. Right here, we've got our gradients and we are in black to white. So that's going to work fine. So I'm just going to come in here and click and draw. And you can see as we do that, it's literally showing us the gradient, and we can come in here and control it. So if I want to move this gradient to maybe right here, I can come in here. I can change the size of the gradient. I can put the gradient in a new spot. I can make gradient here, so I could make it really bright just in those areas. And over here, you've got your properties in which you can control the gradient as well. But this is Live Gradient. It's letting us see what we're doing as we do it. And it works really, really well. This is something that even in the beta version, I was a huge fan of. And we've got this image of the mountains. And what I'm going to do is just make this smaller. And you'll see why here in a second. What we're going to do is we're going to click on the crop tool. And in the crop tool, you now have something that's called Generative Expand. And we're going to come out here to Generative Expand. And we'll just make this a lot wider. And what this is going to do is just fill in this area, but it's going to use AI to kind of look and see what it is in the scene when you do it. So right down here in the generate, if we do not put anything in here, which we're not going to, it's just going to go ahead and fill that in. If you were to type something in, it would try to add whatever you typed. But in this case, we're just going to hit generate. And I have to say, this works really well, but so you can see here, it did a pretty awesome job. It looks like we got a little issue up there, but that's not a big, but it did a great job of filling this in. The problem with it is it's really low image quality. So if we zoom in here, you can see it did it, but the image quality is really low. Over here is high resolution and what it should look like. This is sort of problem number one. We can use it commercially, but it's low quality imagery that they're importing in here. So we're going to put a dog right here in the center of this. So what I'm going to do is come up here to the selection tool and I'm going to make an area. I'm going to say, hey, I want my dog to be in here. So let's see if it understands a very specific dog. So let's put coonhound in it. And we're going to go ahead and hit generate and see what it does. So you can see up here, it's doing its stuff. And it should put a coonhound in the water right there. It didn't understand what a coonhound was, though it did put a dog. And we've got a little bit of line. And as you can see, it's a low quality image. So let's go ahead. And one of the cool things is we can come in here and say poor. And why is this poor? Would I use this for my project? Strongly disagree. Did the result match my text prompt? Let's put disagree because I didn't give it enough information probably. Would the result be believable? Strongly disagree. No. And we'll send that back. Okay. So now we're going to hit Command Z and undo that. So let's go ahead and give it a better. So let's type in here a chihuahua jumping out of the water. See what happens there. All right, so it did what we said. There's the chihuahua. It's jumping out of the water. It's got a little thing right here in the line on the edge. So it's not perfect, but let's zoom in here and we're going to see this. So once again, yeah, they did a chihuahua jumping out of the water and it looks like a really bad illustration drawing. So this is the problem with all these generative fills. And you're seeing all these people that are paid by Adobe to say, oh, this is so great. Yeah, maybe if you're an illustrator, you could probably get away with some of this, but all the items that get generated in the program look like horrible illustrations at this point. So until they get these things high quality, it's going to be an issue. And if you've heard, it looks like the beginning of next year, they're going to start charging to use AI. It looks like you're going to get so many credits depending on the plan, and then you can use that. Look, I probably won't hardly be using any of this stuff, so it's not a big deal for me. But yeah, until they get high resolution and realistic looking images, yeah, it's going to be a big problem. So let's go on over to an image here. So let's go ahead and we'll grab our little thing and we'll slide this here. And what I'm going to type in here is a row sinking in the ocean. And let's go ahead and generate this. So this is kind of a weird looking image where it's like very pixelated. So you can see we've got a rowboat. It did a really nice job with the reflection. It gets the perspective done really well, but this is like way overexposed. It's like 7%, like it's the brightest boat. Now, could we come in here and dark it or tell it to change the color? Absolutely. So we could come in here and do yellow rowboat sinking in the ocean. Hit generate, and we'll get a new one. All right, so that's pretty good. It got us a yellow boat. It hardly has any reflection. It doesn't look as realistic, but it's a better quality boat. Over here on the right, you'll notice we get variations. So I can click on some variations of the boats. And we also have variations of the other boat that we saw before. Just like everything, it's doing a good job. It's just the issue of the low quality of the image. And it just doesn't look realistic in a photo workflow. Could we probably use this in an illustration? Absolutely. I think it would work a lot better. But in a photographic workflow at this point, I'm going to give this generative fill a thumbs down just because of the image quality. It's not going to be useful to me. I really like. So let's go back to this image here. So look, the removal tool works really good. When you want to expand the selection, that works insanely good, except for it's just poor image quality at this point. But the ability to fill images with objects works, but the image quality is just so bad at this point. I really don't see it being beneficial in a photographic workflow at this point. So that's basically what's new in Photoshop 2024. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you found this video helpful. If you have any comments or questions, you could always leave those below. And don't forget to subscribe.